Imagine your wife standing before you, ready to reconnect, her eyes filled with love and hope. Excitedly, you leap forward to embrace her. But suddenly, bam, you hit a clear wall of glass. It's so unexpected, like a punch to the face. You may have not seen that wall, but it's painfully real. And it's been building for years, slowly and quietly, growing stronger with every unspoken hurt and every unresolved conflict. That invisible wall is resentment. It's blocking the future you've been both longing for. And you realize in that moment that until it comes down, no amount of love in her eyes will break through it. But this man learned how to get past it.
It's also like a week ago, she said something about, oh, this is who you're going to wake up to for the rest of your life, to me. And again, I didn't make a big deal. I said, hey, I'm blessed and I'm the luckiest guy in the world to wake up to you every day.
In the next few minutes, I'll show you 3 steps Matthew took to turn resentment into renewal. First, we'll break down the barrier that's been preventing real connection with your wife. Until you address this, you'll keep spinning your wheels, never reaching the fulfilling marriage you truly want. Next, I'll show you how to transform your communication into something magnetic and engaging using the most vital tool at your disposal. It's a 9-letter word that can make conversations 9 times more impactful, bringing her 9 inches closer to you in both connection and intimacy, or something like that. Finally, I'll share a proven framework that ensures your changes last, making you irresistible in her eyes. And by the way, step 2 includes a rare treat, something most people don't even know. It's how you hold the key to healing her nervous system, making her feel safe with you again, all without saying a word. This one's an absolute game changer. So let's jump in. Matthew hit rock bottom when he heard the words that have struck down and gutted countless husbands.
I went through, like when I got hit with the D word or the I love you but not in love with you.
Like most men, Matthew reacted in the only way he logically knew how.
At first, I was trying to stop it my way, and then I realized that made it worse.
He thought logic and reason could save his marriage, but instead, it pushed her further away.
I got a little emotional.
Does it hurt?
And then, yeah, just being controlling and trying to drop, like, because we have kids together. So it was like, oh, we'll think about the kids, and we built this life, and we have history together, and we moved from here to here. We did, and I tried to use all that, and none of it worked.
But Matthew didn't stop there. He took things a step further, hoping to reignite the spark with a personal gesture.
It happened right around our anniversary. So, like, I made this video for us, like the past 10 years of us, pictures and videos and things. And she liked it, but she's like, yeah, it didn't do anything. And I was like, all right, like I was hoping it would do something and bring a little spark back. And she straight up was like, yeah, it was nice, but eh.
Despite his efforts, nothing was shifting as soon as things took an even darker turn.
She was totally closed off, done. This is what I want. Filed. I got served. Wow. So that was like her thing. Like she was full steam ahead, and nothing I could do, say, was stopping it.
Before I share the first crucial step that turned things around, I want to expand on why this happens. Understanding where her heart and mind are is essential to know why your efforts aren't working.
I'll just like touch on that for a second about why that really occurs on a deep level is because we talk about the tipping point, right? The tipping scale. As soon as she goes into that negative sentiment, and it's like, it really is black and white. Like when she's in the dual mindset, there's this back and forth a little bit, but as soon as she makes like the way humans work, not just women, but the way humans work, as soon as we make a vast decision to do something, our brain has to then reconcile why we're doing these things backwards, rationalize. Oh, if I did this thing, my emotions are going to follow even more now. So when she gave the divorce paper, right, she's like, I want a divorce. Her emotions went more in that direction. But so anything that you do in that moment until she has that space, she's going to just see through the lens of like, oh, he's being manipulative, or, you know, it's all negative, right? Which is why that space is so important. But
when Matthew finally sought professional help and reached out to us, real change started to happen. And it all began with the first crucial step, a step that's likely been holding you back as well. Now, addressing this one thing not only clears the path for lasting change within yourself, but also restores trust and deepens emotional intimacy in your marriage. Here it is in Matt's words.
I'd say one of the biggest things for us, like just the past 10 years, like we did let resentment on both sides build up. So we both had walls. And it just continued and continued. This small thing would turn into this big thing. And by the end of the argument, we didn't even know what started it. All this other stuff would fester up that we both would be holding on to.
right.
The step here is something I call past pain resolution. Matthew realized that until he confronted the resentment he had been carrying, True progress, it wasn't possible. His wife eventually followed suit, but first, he had to take the lead. The past trauma had become a wall between them, a wall that grew taller with each unaddressed conflict, blocking their way towards real change and connection. Only by facing it with courage could he break through it.
You talk about the death from 1,000 cups. Like as soon as you said that, I was like, that's what this was. And that tipping scale. And
in the movie Shack, Mac Phillips is devastated by the loss of his youngest daughter, and the grief and anger he carries starts to consume him. His pain creates an emotional wall that keeps him stuck in bitterness, unable to move forward. In one key scene, Mac is asked to forgive the person responsible for his daughter's death. At first, he resists, of course, holding tightly to his anger, almost like it's a blanket of death. But as he goes through the process, he realizes that forgiveness isn't about excusing the act. It's about releasing himself from the weight of the pain and resentment he was holding. Now, this scene perfectly captures the idea of past pain resolution. Like Mac, sometimes we hold on to past trauma, which only builds walls that keep us from healing. It shows how letting go of that pain, it takes real courage, but also it's the only way to truly move forward and experience real change, which is what you need to win her back. So how can you achieve this PPR? Well, here's what Matt did.
so for me, it was looking at the negative habits that created that resentment between us. It was looking at my triggers that would get me either angry or just get me to shut off, and figuring out what that was. And so I did a lot of the meditating and the breathe work to let go of like past trauma, because that was something I didn't even know about. Like I talked to my buddy about it, and he's like, it seems like you're holding on to like past trauma that's affecting what's going on now. So learning to let go of that, and even let go of the hurt that we caused each other over the past 10 years. So that was the first step, was like, you need to let go, leave the past in the past. Don't forget about it, learn from it, but you need to let go of it. You need to move on from it.
Now, meditation and breathwork are both powerful exercises to help you release things that have been weighing you down. Now, we have these breathwork classes with an expert in our program. Also, if you want to set up a free marriage evaluation call with our team, just click the link down below. Make sure you're fully committed. But let's continue. Once you've let go of the past, the next step is about deepening your connection with the present moment. This is where a subtle shift in how you communicate can unlock levels of understanding with her. This will reduce tension and strengthen the bond between you and your wife. And when you master this, she will feel safe, open up to you more, trust you more with her deepest thoughts, emotions, and desires, leaning into you with all of her beautiful feminine energy. Now, knowing that you're the man she can always rely on, no matter what. Sounds good. Let's continue. Let's hear it from Matthew again.
Communication, because one of the brothers asked me, he's like, what's the one biggest thing that you would say made the biggest difference? And I told him, I was like, I can't say there was one biggest thing, because it was equally added up things. And communication was another thing, that like talking to her on her level, validating, listening, like literally just listening to what she had to say more. Like I would listen before, but I wouldn't like listen to hear, listen to respond.
Right.
And that was the biggest thing.
This is known as present moment focus. To be truly present with her, you need to listen, not just to respond, but to listen to really understand. And as men, it's natural for us to want to solve problems, right? We're logical thinkers. What's this, a challenge? No, no problem, I'll fix it, I'll push through it, I'll make it happen. However, in moments like these with your wife, you have to rise above that instinct and learn to quietly sit with her emotions, to give her your full attention, and to focus on her past the words. Think of proper communication with her like tuning a radio, right? Even if you're slightly off the right frequency, the music is full of static. You catch parts of the melody, but you miss the essence of the song. You don't truly grasp that. And when you're thinking of solving her problems, you're in your head, and there's a disconnect of that frequency, you see? The same happens in conversations. When you are in your head trying to think, how am I gonna fix this? How am I gonna make her feel better? You're missing the little nuances of her true being, and she feels that. But when you're in tune completely with her, with curiosity and focus, everything becomes crystal clear. Just like finding the perfect frequency on the radio. Being fully present in the moment allows you to hear the message without any distortion. But truly listening and validating her feelings, what you're doing there is you're tuning into her emotional wavelength, right? That's what the connection is, the same wavelength, right? The same vibe, if you will. This creates a space for clear, meaningful connection where she feels deeply heard and understood, just like how a song finally resonates when the radio is perfectly tuned. And look at how she changes when you apply present moment focus.
Her and I had a half-hour conversation the other night about she collects plants, and I know why she does, but I never really asked her, and she was so excited to tell me about it. And she spent a half hour showing me all these plants that have been in our house for a few years now. So it's like, and I literally asked her that question because I wanted to know. Like I honestly, genuinely wanted to know. So it's like those things, the communication, like that I could see has really helped with her in the shift, because now she feels safe to be able to talk to me, to communicate.
Let's face it, there's probably not a single husband out there who hasn't struggled with this one point or another. But listen to how Matt breaks this down, the difference between how he shares his thoughts on present moment focus. Just check it out.
Like if it is something that might cause an argument or be touchy of the subject, I wouldn't, like, before I'd respond, or I would react with maybe defensiveness or like walls put up.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know I could respond and actually be like, okay, you know what, there's something going on here that we need to talk about.
Right.
I won't get defensive. I won't take it personal. It's just something that, so I'd say that right there with her at least was like the communication, learning to really listen.
So how do you achieve this present moment focus? Check out our next conversation here. Matt shares what he does, and then I'll dive a little bit more deeper into it.
She even said, like 2 weeks ago, she said something about like, she's like, I feel we need to slow down a little bit. And I just asked her why and what she meant by that. She explained it. And instead of getting upset at it or being like, well, no, we're doing it, I was like, okay, I respect that, and that's okay. And we had like a 2-hour talk after that.
Yeah.
And that was something like, again, 2 years ago or a year ago, depending on the situation, like I don't feel I would have responded that way and talked to her that way. I would have maybe been mad or like gotten childish or shut down or resentful of it. But instead I understood. I was like, okay, she is feeling comfortable, but not so comfortable. So instead of pushing and breaking a boundary, let's respect it.
Most guys, if a wife says something that triggers the guy, like, oh no, I'm going to lose her again. Like they immediately catastrophize. What you did, well, first thing is like you pause, like you don't react, right? You respond, react, but you use the most vital tool, which is like curiosity. Like you didn't make the assumptions what she meant by that. You talked about it. Yeah. Because a lot of times when she said, even when a wife says like, and it sounds crazy, but like, hey, I want a divorce, that seems pretty black and white what that means, right? But in women's speak, that could be like, I truly don't want to be with you anymore. I'm done. Or, hey, I'm thinking about leaving you. What are you going to do about it? Right? That could be completely, but until you actually use that calm pause and then the curiosity, you'll actually play into your own worst fears and like make those true, right?
Pause and don't react. And you use the vital tool of curiosity as your guide. Don't make assumptions, but do ask questions. Now, I promise you I'd share something that can actually heal her nervous system and make her feel safe with you again. So have a listen to this.
I'm going to say something that I haven't really talked about much because you're making me have all these good thoughts. So thank you for this conversation.
Yeah.
And studies will actually show this. So you know attachment theory at this point, right? The different styles of attachment. Studies will actually show that if a securely attached person is with someone who has insecure patterns themselves, if that person is able to remain securely attached, they actually help the other person heal. And so her fear of like, saying something, getting upset and triggering you, if you remain in your frame, remain calm, you give her the love, you're unreactive, you hold that space for her, over time, her nervous system will start to feel safer with you, and you'll be a stimulus that makes her feel safe, right? And you'll actually heal her through this process. And it's a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful thing, you know?
Yeah, no, she's even said it. She's like, I'm able to talk to you more. I feel more comfortable talking and like having these conversations.
And when you resolve your past pain and learn to focus on the present moment with her, you'll be ready for this last framework. Maybe you'll see where I'm going with this, but honing this is the key to lasting change. Not only will it strengthen your connection with her, but it'll make you irresistible in her eyes, truly. It's like a magnet of attraction. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. I love that quote because it perfectly sets up my final step. There's one key word that Matthew discovered, and it's what I helped him with. And he continues to discover it more and more every single day. And if you embrace it, just have a listen to this.
It's just consistency with it. Just be consistent with it. I know one of the biggest things that can mess this all up or get it to go back would be me. Mm-hmm. Going back to the way I was or doing something like that, which I never would do because I saw what it did to us, and I did to her and me. Trust the process, and it really is. Trust the process.
The word is consistency, and the step here is future trust framework. There's so many experts out there, you know, on Instagram and YouTube, whatever, that aren't really experts, but I did hear recently that someone said, if there's a betrayal, it takes 2 years to fully heal that thing. That seems like a long time, and you got to compound all the betrayals that you've had over the years, but at the end of the day, why not be consistent, right? Why not strive for that consistency and do your best? Ultimately, what her greatest desire is, she wants you to prove her love to her every moment. Women need a man in their life, like spiritually, historically. I don't care what this whole movement of freaking independent women, I don't need a man. No, like they do, they really do. And she wants it to be you, and she needs you to prove it. So how much is she worth to you? And is being consistent and challenging yourself every single day, is she worth that? If she's not, be honest and move on. But if she is, there's no other alternative. One of my clients has a Katsura tree, and over the first few years of living in his house, he noticed the tree never really grew. It looked nice enough, but he felt like it should be doing more, right? Growing bigger, fuller, more vibrant. And then one evening, he went to his neighbor's house for dinner, and he noticed something surprising. His neighbor had the exact same tree in his backyard, only it was a lot bigger, flourishing and full of life. His wife then said, see, that's what our tree is supposed to look like. Naturally curious, he asked his neighbor, like, how did you manage to grow it so well? The neighbor asked, do you water it? Do you fertilize it? My client realized he didn't that much, right? As much as he should have. He assumed since it was a large perennial that it would just take care of itself. He learned that just like any plant, it needed consistent care, regular watering, fertilizing, attention, thriving, even talking to the damn plant, okay? Studies show that. The same is true in relationships. If you assume they will stay strong without putting in consistent effort to nurture them, the relationship will stagnate. But with patience, steady care, and trust in the process, you will grow stronger and more resilient, just like the tree and just like your marriage. It makes me happy to see that Matthew's future is looking bright.
Now we're at level 5 beyond, like we are back, like I said, to a space or a place I never thought we would be. We're flirting again. We're more, again, I tried to build that friendship first. So we're definitely best friends again.
Wow.
We're flirting, we're joking, we're having we're having fun again. But also being affectionate.
Remember, Matthew got to this place after putting in the effort. Now, if you want to check out another video that shows the importance of consistency in doing the work, you can check out the one right here, okay? Thanks for watching. Smash like, comment down below, and I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.